This is the same Dr. Tam who is telling us that we shouldn't close our borders to countries with high levels of infection, and who in January was repeating talking points out of the PRC about no evidence of human-to-human transmission.
Before this pandemic hit, the largest issue facing Albertans in the West was whether or not we would remain a part of this country, whether or not we would throw out our Canadian passports and create our own. Jason Kenney is a federalist, and he said time and time again that he doesn't want to leave Canada. Many people thought that was because he wanted to be prime minister one day, and, well, it's kind of proving to be true, but not in the way many people expected. Being premier isn't stopping Jason Kenney from acting like a prime minister. The Albertan government is acting like a federal government in more ways than just one. When Justin Trudeau's federal government was dropping the ball on border security, putting Canadian lives at risk, Jason Kenney went to the airport himself to see what was going on, and soon after dispatched provincial authorities to the airports to start enforcing quarantine measures. But it doesn't just stop there. If Jason Kenney is the Prime Minister of Alberta, his Deputy Prime Minister is Devin Dreeshen. Devin Dreeshen is the Agriculture Minister, one of the most important industries in Alberta, and someone who is in charge of securing the supply chain of food to all Albertans. It's a very important job. And when the federal government wasn't providing enough food inspectors, something that is under the purview of the CFIA, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, Devin Dreeshen stepped up to the plate and told the federal government that they're really not needed. He was going to deploy provincial inspectors to federal jobs to do the job that Justin Trudeau is not doing. His entire government is failing right now, and the Alberta government is stepping up to the plate. Now, this became the most apparent when Jason Kenney slammed the Chief Medical Officer of Canada, Dr. Theresa Tam, someone who's in the pockets of the WHO and someone who negligently allowed people to continue coming into Canada, saying that borders didn't need to be closed to hotspots and human-to-human transmission didn't exist back in January, when it obviously did. Listen to Jason Kenney say this.
Is Dr. Tam suggesting that the European Union's regulator of medications or the Food and Drug Administration approve things that are dangerous for public use? This is the same Dr. Tam who is telling us that we shouldn't close our borders to countries with high levels of infection, and who in January was repeating talking points out of the PRC about no evidence of human-to-human transmission.
Having a premier of this country slam the chief medical officer like that, Dr. Theresa Tam, saying that she was parroting People's Republic of China talking points, is the biggest condemnation of the conduct and the capabilities of the federal government that we've seen in a long, long time. Now, something that many Anglophones might be interested to learn is that in our sister province of Quebec, they actually refer to their first minister, their premier, as a prime minister. Now, I'm not going to attempt the French translation of that because I would just butcher it, but I find it interesting that they take that liberty. They do consider themselves their own nation, after all, and maybe it's time that Alberta starts taking that liberty themselves. Jason Kenney is not going to be printing our own passports and coining our own loonies while we're dealing with this pandemic, but he certainly is picking the low-hanging fruits of separation. Maybe it's time that we start calling him Prime Minister, because right now, it's the only one we've got. For Rebel News, I'm Keean Bexte. Thanks for checking out our coverage here at Rebel News. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notification bell at the bottom of the video. If you do that, you'll stay up to date with the other side of the story no matter what. YouTube is pushing traffic towards the mainstream media sites during this global pandemic, but if you ring that bell, you'll stay up to date with everything.